Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey.
It just, you woke up and it was bad.
No, driving home from the show that I did. When after we ate and it hit me like, wow.
You're probably the first person on the podcast on painkillers that needs it. Most people
God.
just do it for fun.
Yeah, I've done recreational. These are so light, these mics.
I know, science is crazy.
Wow.
Would you consider yourself an anxious person?
Oh, I'm very anxious. Also, like, I'm anxious. Even when I'm relaxing, I'm anxious.
I'm the same way. That's why I needed shit like this. Because if it's more than 3 minutes to set something up, I'm talking myself out of it.
Yeah, me too. I'm very and by the way, I can also, like, just so people know, because I'm paranoid, so I have like a little bit, when you wake up with a stiff neck. Mm-hmm. So I have something that's what I'm dealing with.
I'll edit out. We don't have to be like.
Well, no, I just meant it's better in case they notice as I'm doing it. Like, I'd rather be in. Does that make sense?
I didn't even have to ask if you were anxious. You're worried. They're gonna be like, "Is he a robot?" You're like,
yeah. I am very anxious. I thought you were asking. Were you asking that on the podcast?
I just was gonna start wherever. We can start.
You do
whenever.
what you want. It's your show.
All right, I'm gonna stop it. We're done.
We're done.
That's the podcast.
You've done enough. You've done enough harm. And also, yeah. So I'm bringing that up. But also, I love. Do you want to smoke a little?
Of course.
You smoke during your podcast?
Oh yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Have you ever dabbed before?
Oh my God.
I brought the Puffco.
I will later in the show.
Okay.
I did it on. It's funny for me. It's like I'll do it when I'm doing Getting Doug with High, or Getting High with Doug. No, Getting Doug with High.
Getting Doug with High.
And I always feel like with him, it's like, well, I have to do it. They want you to do it. There's an excuse to do it. I mean,
do you want to know something that's kind of crazy? So, all right. When I first started getting into podcasts, Getting Doug with High is one that I listened to. Mm-hmm. And one of his main sponsors was Hitman Glass. That's who gave him a lot of his bongs. Mm-hmm. And now 10 years later, almost, Hitman now sponsors my podcast.
What? I love it. And they gave you that. That's a nice backpack.
Has given me thousands of dollars worth of bongs and bags. So it's just a crazy full circle moment.
Maybe I should make a jingle for him. How about if I do, you'll lay it in right here?
Okay, yeah. You're gonna have a Hitman Glass jingle.
Well, maybe Joe McKenzie. We gotta make him earn his. I don't know what he would earn.
You know the crazy thing about weed though is, do you think it helps the anxiety or hurts it?
Well, I don't have that type of anxiety. My anxiety is always rushing to relaxation. I actually think I might have said it right. In other words, I'm trying to give you the short story. A lot of my anxiety, I notice, come from, I'm a simpleton. I have, I'm not good at, I don't like to have unpaid bills. I like everything done, taken care of. And there was some chaos in my life that I got rid of, like 3 or 4 years ago. I had my a name on a house that I was an investor in. I would get, you didn't pay your insurance, or it wasn't for this house, it was for that house. That would happen. And then my mom's house, which we sold. A lot of things I got off the plate, and I noticed, absolutely, undeniably, I'm more calm when I took some of that stuff. Does that make sense?
It does, but simpleton, I think, is
simpleton
the right
isn't the right word. I
feel like that's like of mice and men.
Yeah,
I
know.
He was a simpleton.
I know, it does sound like I'm not a simpleton. Even if I was, I wouldn't care. But
even if I was, I wouldn't.
I know. Well, I don't want to. Maybe there's a simpleton out there. I don't want to make it. That's not a bad thing.
Excuse me, sir. You're diagnosed simpleton.
You're a simpleton.
The simpleton spectrum.
Yeah, sure. Everybody's on the simpleton spectrum.
How much
Everybody. But when I said I rush to relaxation, I have asked myself this question, and I think you can get an honest answer if you want one. You do a lot of prep to relax.
Yeah.
A lot of prep for me to relax. Now, I say a lot of people do it the opposite. If I'm having people over, I prep the day, but so when they're here, I can relax. So, yes, I think it takes a little prep for me. But like right now, I knew you were coming, and I got the studio the way I wanted it. and I feel relaxed right now.
How do you feel when you go over a person's house and it's just chaos?
Can I tell you something? It's not the chaos. I can find peace in that. Practically my sister, but her name's Andrea. She's just a really, really, really close friend. And her parents their house is chaotic. Now, it's immaculate, meaning you don't have to worry about everything's clean, but there is stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Chaos. Every wall has pictures. Every room has stuff everywhere. And I love it. And it wouldn't be the first house like that. I do find some, not my house, but somewhere else I can find it charming. And just, as long as I'm not talking, there's a difference between dirty and then just a chaotic house. So, but more than that, it's too bright will fucking kill me. Too bright. I'll leave somebody's party if it's too bright because I can't take it. I just can't fucking take it.
What's the, is that the simplest reason you've left someone's party is the lights are too bright? I'm sure there's many
reasons. And by the way, a lot of times
they got ruffles. You're like, I like my chips smooth.
Speaking of smooth chips, that was my stage name when I started. I had a jazz band. I couldn't think of it. What type of band would be called? What would the smooth chips?
Smooth chips is like funk, some funk blues. I feel like.
Well, Chips is the singer, and he's Smooth Chips. Here comes Smooth Chips.
I feel like Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you come
that
out.
Would work.
Dun,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Smooth Chips, but it would be in like a airport lounge.
No! Why can't? Even if it's a make pretend thing we're doing, why can't we? You ever have, even in a bit, you don't want to be at the airport lounge? Come on, why can't I be at a nice? One time we were doing a bit, I forget what it was.
Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, well, yeah. Todd, you're flying on Spirit Airlines. Can't it be first class? An American? Even if it's in a bit,
I'm not gonna ash on your floor.
You know what? Because there's cement. Sometimes I tell people don't worry about it, even just because.
I walk into messy people's houses and I get jealous that they don't care. That's the level of anxiety I have. I'm like, it's so nice that you don't give a fuck.
Oh, I can't really. Now look, again, you know what I mean when I go the difference between a chaotic house and a house that's unclean. Like,
yeah,
but my friend has a kid, and when you go over her house, there's toys. I mean, it's stuff. But I love it. I walk into it, and when, in all the chaos, she's got the table set real nice. There's just a kid. There's stuff going on. Her kitchen, but I can find it very calm. But lighting, and I've talked about it my whole life. I go over someone's house. Sometimes I'll go, yeah, but you're going to have the lights low, or I'm not coming to your house.
Well, you do that with the shows. You make your shows like...
At the show, it's all a different thing.
That was the shameless way to get plugging into what you're here to plug.
No. I don't even have to. We can wait till the very end. No. I matter of fact, the reason because I have been very self-aware lately, and for a good reason, and I am obsessed with talking about lighting at clubs, and I've done it on every single podcast. So I tried to stay away from it. Now I thought the difference was. You asking me, does a chaotic house give me anxiety? But I knew the answer right away. But I figured, well, it's not about clubs, so we don't have to talk about atmosphere or lighting.
No atmosphere, lighting.
It's healthy for me not to. Anxiety, that's something I don't get talk about. That's something I don't get to talk about that often. And my stiff neck. Wow, my people, please. In post, can you put Todd has a stiff neck? He is okay. Maybe blink it up and down right now. Come on, do something. So I just want.
I feel bad that you keep turning to the camera.
Well, my paranoia is that it's going to be obvious, and I do think it's better to say something. So otherwise, if you just do the whole interview like this, you're right. I don't have to turn there. Okay?
But don't you think no one is looking at you thinking about that?
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to shut up. You're right.
No, I always.
You're right. You're totally right. That's why. Just hello, how are you?
Yeah, that's the whole podcasting is great. Everything except for the act of breaking of the fourth wall.
Oh yeah.
When you really think about someone watching you all the time, like when you're not gonna have it's weird when you break that fourth wall.
Yes, it's comforting for me. Obviously, right?
You like knowing someone's gonna watch you.
Oh. It keeps me on good behavior. It makes me think about the words that come out of my mouth. Hey, by the way, would you think... Do you think of me as a hyper person or a calm person?
I don't think of you as either.
Okay.
I don't think you're hyper or calm.
Hyper or calm?
I would say you're more calm.
Okay.
I feel like you like things at peace.
I do like things at peace.
Ever since I've known you, it's all about like I was about to say aesthetic, but I'm not gonna say that word. I'm not gonna say that
That's
word.
my own paranoia. But I will say about that I think this is probably true with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody, but I bet there are a lot of people that feel the way I do. That I feel everything in my head is so chaotic that I need everything around me to be as calm as I possibly can get it. And I feel a visible difference when everything around me is perfect. Would I keep doing it if there was no positive about it? Because it's I don't mind being orderly either, but it does take another level of. But it's really not that hard. You just keep up on it. But does it make a difference when things are orderly around me? And the answer is abso-fucking-lutely. So.
How do you deal with an outdoor cat that you tamed a wild animal? I feel like.
Well, no, you know what's funny about that?
You're like a cowboy.
Oh, shut up.
That
cat. It's funny. I guess we I guess I'm a lot like my mom in the sense that it's funny because I'm a lot like John clean. Wayne. I'm very clean and very. But I know that cat that is an outdoor cat. It comes inside and it lays right next to me in bed, and he's so cute, and I don't care. So I guess I like things orderly, but I think sometimes people think with that you are equally as maybe not comfortable around germs. Yeah. And I'm not doing it in a defensive way. It doesn't. My order that I like is not matched at the same level by do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're the person who when
I don't care about I don't have a problem with germs. My problem is it has to be overly orderly. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem. I mean, I keep things clean, but I don't have a problem.
You don't care if do you get in your bed with like clothes that you wore outside
That's a great question. And I'm not proud of this. But some people are surprised because as orderly, they see order, and again, they're probably going, "Oh, I bet he matches it." Now, in some ways, I'm a clean person, but
no, you're disgusting.
But I can. But here's a.
Todd smells horrible right now.
Oh, can you imagine if I did? I'm admitting that. Oh, I hardly ever shower.
I actually do smell horrible right now.
I do get into. Again, I'm not proud of it, but I do get into bed with I'll have like usually gym shorts on. That's what I wear once I get home, and I'm. I just always throw on a pair of gym shorts. So I'll get into bed with that and the shirt that I've been wearing a lot. And here's the thing. I change my pillowcases about 3 times a week.
3 times a week?
But guess what? That's only recent. But guess what? My sheet, it could be like a month.
Wait, why?
I don't know.
What's about your face is so dirty?
Oh, I heard your pillowcase, if it's clean, your skin, you don't break out.
Oh.
I heard that, so I go, I'll keep my pillowcase clean.
I heard that about your hair. If you use certain pillowcases, it won't make your hair fall out.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard if you use certain pillowcases, it'll make hair grow in.
I heard I'll get a Netflix special if I use a certain pillowcase.
I heard that if I get a neck massager, that I'll be so relaxed that all my great ideas will just come flowing out of me in a more substantial way.
Yeah. I think about losing my hair way too much.
Yeah, guess what? Well, a lot of people do. I'm one of them.
I went. I got nice hair.
I got. What do you call it? Where they put the blood. The PRP. It's where they take the blood out, they splint it, they take the platelets. I did it. I did it like 6 times.
Really?
7 times. Yeah.
You're like 23 on the 23. Inside.
I'm on 23. Who cares, though? You know what?
Wait, what
I
is
said
that?
Because, Why not? Why not?
But wait, so they take your blood out like a vamp? You're like a reverse vampire.
I don't know what that means, but I like the way it sounds.
I don't know what it means either.
You know what? I can't even explain it, but but anyway, it is what it is. But
and it helps with your hair.
I think absolutely. But here's the bigger thing: what you said at the deeper level, and I bet we're not the only ones, or maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. I don't like how obsessed I am with my hair.
No, it's horrible.
It's like I go. The truth is, if the thinner you are, the better a shaved head looks. It's just the way it is. Shaved head can look cool, bald can look cool, but I know that I'd have to be on my thinner side.
Oh yeah,
because I'm tempted sometimes. Mill it, just shave it.
Have you ever done it?
I did it one time about 10 years ago.
How'd it look?
I was on the heavier side. I was like 25 pounds heavier. Do you know what I mean by that?
No, I feel like I'd look like a snowman if I shaved my head.
And you know what? Your hair looks good. You keep it short. You look
but I'm 26, so it's 26,
like it's easy to tell someone else. But
yeah,
I go, oh, relax. I go. Meanwhile, I'm spinning blood around and spitting it back in my head.
Did your dad have hair?
My dad, yes, he had hair. He died when he was younger, but still, I know I could tell by my brothers more than my dad because he died so young. But they all have hair, but I could tell okay, I better. And then I also have I tape some hair in my head. I go to the barber shops locally and I take double stick tape and I pat it all. When
before the podcast, you were like, I need to get ready.
Exactly. So I go over with double stick tape. I make a ring out of it in my hand. I go look at the person that has hair more like me, and I just stay. And then I go home and I just tap it all over. Why am I talking?
I was gonna say they didn't have someone with your hair, so you went to the Dominican barber shop.
I went to this.
And you were like, oh, this doesn't even look like my fucking hair.
Go, no one notices. Meanwhile, people at home are like, we notice. And by the way, thank you for meeting me. I mean this. You are probably in a league by yourself, or maybe one other person, that didn't even care about the lighting. You were like, because I was ready to turn it up for you. Like, I'll split the difference. When we're hanging out, I like it like this. But if you said, do you mind bringing it up? I was already prepared to. What was comfortable for me? You're like, no. And I'm like, do you want me to turn the air conditioner off? I like leaving it on. I like no humidity in the air, and I'm just more awake the colder it is, Well, and I said, you want me to turn the air off? You're like, no.
I do more interviews mostly instead of that's why I loved your podcast because it was fun. But I feel like I'm too anxious to have fun on a podcast. I'm more good at interviewing, where I can just ask a question and then I can have an anxiety attack while the person answers it. And the best way to do an interview is have the person not care. So that's why I don't care about the sound or the looks or any of that shit.
Well, there you go. You know what? I feel it.
So what's your deepest, darkest secret?
You go right ahead.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Well, you have 7 hours. I have a story, but it's 7 hours. No, I've never killed anybody.
Have you ever been had a gun pulled on you or robbed?
I did.
Did you?
I was driving down. This is 15 years ago. I was driving down Melrose, which is a street in Los Angeles, of course. And get to the just real quick was it's somebody pulled up next to me. By the way, a very important point. I don't engage with people. I'm not an aggressive driver. Always sorry if I ever do make a mistake. I've never. There was zero chance. Well, what happened? Why'd this guy do it? No reason at all. I don't know why. But I was driving a Jeep. Maybe he thought I'd give it up quicker. And he just pulled the gun out. I don't remember if he said pull over. I don't think he did. I just remember him showing me a gun.
In the car next to you?
In the car next to me. And I'm in a Jeep with just the doors. So I do have the doors. It's a little bit of safety,
No roof.
No roof. No roof. Just but the doors. So I don't feel like I have something if he jumped, And anyway, I backed up, went in a neighborhood, went across 3 lawns. I mean, I was aggressively... And they were going after me, and I just was thinking, and I was doing good. I remember going, okay. And eventually I got up to Santa Monica Boulevard, and there was all these cones because they had a street coned off and there was a cop like 20 feet away, and I drove right through the cones, right to the cop.
And they just drove off?
They drove off, and I said, okay, first thing I said was something like, I'm not drunk, I had a car just following me and showed me a gun, and I was just, he's like, he was really nice, he was nice, and, but it was,
that's horrifying.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a gun pulled on me after a show once.
Where, like...
Up in Manchester, after a stand-up show.
Just out in the parking lot?
This is such a crazy story that, like... It's so long to get into, but basically the guy had my phone. He took my phone from the green room. Maybe by accident, maybe not.
Was he a comedian?
And he was a fan. But he knew one of the other comedians, and when I went to go get it, he thought I might have been setting him up or something, and he pulled an assault rifle on me. And that's such a weird feeling of having fucking... After a comedy show, too. I'm in gang situations.
It sounds like a stupid question, but do you get scared? Like, how scared are you?
You don't get scared. It's kind of weird. It's like you're kind of calm. In that moment, because if you get nervous, you're gonna die.
Right, you gotta be calm.
Was that your most near-death experience?
Well, I had a heart attack.
Oh, that's a way. Yeah, I should have known. I remember. I knew you had a heart attack.
No, but I don't think of it as when you say near-death, like a bridge embankment going down.
A heart attack is near death.
Yeah. But medically,
did you feel something afterwards? Was there a change to your psyche?
Well, I have said this before, but I'm telling you, from having the heart attack, being at a club that night, performing, having it happen right while I was performing, having a heart attack, later they tell you, the feelings you had on stage were because you were having a heart attack.
Yeah. You're like, I thought I was just killing.
I thought I just couldn't catch my breath from a bit I did in the audience, going person to person, shaking everybody's hand before I got to the stage. Like the performer that really, doesn't just shake a few hands, but I set up the bit. I went through, get up. I thought I just couldn't catch my breath. So, but I woke up in the morning. This gets to, did it change my outlook? I didn't. I remember the question. But I get up in the morning, and I feel great. I feel like amazing. But it was like not get up in the morning. It was after surgery. Like I was like an hour after surgery, an hour and a half after surgery. I was downstairs. It might have been at this point 4 hours later. I asked the nurse, I go, please let me go shave. I wanted to shave. I wanted to comb my hair. Look, I don't want people coming in and look sickly. So he let me. he let me. And Jeff Ross goes, this was a male nurse. Jeff Ross goes, Todd, you have the best looking nurse in the whole hospital, and that includes the women. And so I didn't have any feeling like that. I just snapped right back into it. But when I got out, this is like the thing you think it's like so cliche, if that's the right word. But when they took me out of the hospital, they have to make you be in a wheelchair, and I heard jackhammers and birds. Not just birds and beautiful. Jackhammers, people, horns. I just fucking lost it. I really lost it because it was like, I knew why. I knew why. So I think it had to change.
Has that worn off, or do you still feel that?
No, I think I tried to, I do a pretty good job. I have my faults, and I steal hotel washcloths if I should be 100% forthright. But I think I really do try to, I have a million little tricks of how I try to really be in the present. Like literal, like the one that I do a lot when people come over, I go, make pretend this is a movie, everybody, tonight. And they're depicting what we did. Are you sitting over in the corner on your phone, or are you engaging? It's a scene in a movie. Action. What are you doing? Because then everyone, obviously, they're like engaging.
Yeah.
You want to look like if it was depicting in a...
But do you feel like you're more willing to make choices and take risks and...
I'm not... Well, that show that I'm doing is pretty...
It's time to bring it in.
Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest. We don't even have to talk about it.
No, I do want to talk about it.
How about if I do this? Because I think if you're okay with it, but it's your podcast. I could mention it now, get it out of the way, and then just enjoy our conversation and not have to worry about it.
Cool, exactly.
Because I don't need to put a lot towards it. So,
I don't think you're going to get much funding from my fans.
Yeah.
You've been doing some pretty big podcasts.
How about if we do this? You're right. But it doesn't even matter.
Okay, all right. You don't need to hurt my feelings. You have to tell...
Oh my God! Oh God, that's so funny. I don't have to be so like, oh yeah.
Yeah, this podcast is nothing.
No, every conversation. Sometimes, and
every conversation. This is like me talking to the janitor right now.
Oh my God! Oh, don't.
Don't make you laugh. It hurts.
Don't. Okay, I'm here and I'm present. Oh, so there's a long story short. There's a video on YouTube. It's called Todd Glass, the event of a lifetime.
That he really would like to apologize for.
I'd like to apologize. I wasn't trying my hardest. Anyway, it's a show that I'm trying to get. I think because we've talked about it. I'm trying to get the funding to bring it to New York City, and it's called Todd Glass, the event of a lifetime. Go watch it, even if you just want to take a look at. It's well edited. The editor really took the whole night from before the show, and then after the show. He got it all in. You get what the night's about. Mm-hmm. And he did a great job. Todd Glass, the event of a lifetime on YouTube. And then we started a crowdsource, but it tells you but I don't even, just go look at it and enjoy it.
You're sick of talking about it at this point?
No, you know what? I'm not, but I'd rather just talk to you. Like, that gets the point across. Like, that's the quick version, but the truth is, they'll go watch Todd Glass, the event of a lifetime. Boom, at the end of that, it's like, okay. And then I'm proud of it. So if at least I just say, hey, go give it a watch, it's sort of, you'll know what I'm working on right now, and I'm trying to bring that show to New York for like a residency, and you'll, in 4.5 minutes, you'll go, oh, okay, I get it.
And the show is incredible. And that's it. Done. Conversation closed.
That's what we were going to call it. But anyway,
the whole reason I brought up the near death shit. Have you ever had like what they call an ego death on a psychedelic?
No.
So I have.
Wait, first, what is that?
It's almost like a near that. Well, I feel bad being like it's like a near death experience, but when you have like a full loss of self and come back with like a new understanding.
Well,
have you ever done like DMT?
I came out of the closet after that.
After the heart attack?
Yeah, that was scary.
Oh, wait, that happened after the heart attack?
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying that is because I go, well, don't underestimate yourself, Todd. Like, that's... So that was like, I'm thinking, did you do any... I go, yeah, because that definitely had to do with the heart attack.
I didn't realize that happened after.
Yeah. I remember literally thinking... I told to a friend of mine who knew, because people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people didn't give a shit and knew, of course, and then some people didn't care, and then I had some friends that knew. It's not like nobody knew, and what are we talking about?
Near death experience. Oh, how you came out after the heart attack. And how that was like a big experience. That was like you changing.
So, I was like, I was talking to a friend. I go, having an honest conversation. I go, I know if I died, hopefully comedians would say, he was funny. I'm pretty sure they would say he was funny. I'll be a moment of confidence. But I know they'd say, like, it's a shame he never felt comfortable to come out. He was still great. He's still, you know what I mean? I mean, this sounds a little bit me complimenting myself, but I think more the point here is the point that they would say, and creatively, it's a shame he was never able to be honest about that part of his life on stage. Not that it would make me the worst comedian. So that was like, I didn't like that amongst some other things. So I thought, just... Was
anyone at all hateful to you that you did, like people personally, not like online?
Almost zero. Almost zero.
Almost zero.
Yeah, there might have been one or two things.
Yeah, but nothing like...
Comedians are, they were like... there was... From every comedian, it was all just like positive love. I'll tell you what, it was overwhelming. Because I was really nervous. I was really nervous. You know, what people want, you know, I tried to be very clear why I did it on Mark Maron. Because I thought I had a lot of stuff held in. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do it on a large platform. I didn't have to dance around that. Yeah, so I'm certainly glad that I did.
Okay, it was so funny watching the Tom Brady roast. They cut to you like, so have you watched it back?
No,
you're
no,
on
no.
it more. They cut to you more than anyone else on it.
You know,
it was super. There's a reason I'm bringing it up. I'm not trying to just be clickbaity or whatever, but it was crazy that they cut to you. How did you feel about the meanness level of that night, being there in person?
You know, like, part of me, like, look, I can get into a roast. I have seen roasting done, like, where it's an art form that I do love, and I've seen it, like, with the Wave. Have you ever seen the Wave? The three guys.
Oh yeah, shout out Jamar Neighbors and
Willie, and Jeremiah. I just love that. Yeah. I just like, and I know that's just a
Jamar
flavor
Neighbors
on top
saw
of
me
it.
do stand-up the first time I ever performed. Fun fact.
Was he nice?
He was. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. No, you know, I never really talked to Jamar that much, but I had an experience with him at Sarah Silverman's party. It's always a great party. Like every you know, just a lot of great, fun, nice people. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that was the first opportunity I had to extend some warmth towards him, and he was very warm in return. But we haven't hung out that much.
But I feel like you're a not. I just was wondering how you felt about the roast. You were saying the meanness of it. The meanness.
Oh,
I enjoyed it, but it's funny because I feel like you like talking about like comedy doesn't need to be mean.
No, comedy can be mean. Comedy can be the best comedy. I know it's hard when you say something about comedy because then you're never there to clean it up and go. Because like I get why you would think it shouldn't be mean. I mean, comedy.
No, I loved the roast. That's not why.
No, I know. I'm holding back obviously because I think sometimes like you can have a problem with something and it doesn't have to be the edginess of it. And you try to go, no, I don't get, you know, that's why comedy's great. You can go to just, it can be, but I was a little bit like, you know, just throwing the word gay around, like, forget about the social, some people, and they'd have a clean, nice argument on why it's time to let that word go. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you were a bad person if you used it. They give it a good argument. But guess what? Even, I'm sitting there, fuck that social element of it. Just it's a dated word. Just like as a comedian, you're supposed to be able to do better than that's like a normal person joke. Like that's like you should. Hey, that's gay. Like, why do you still think it's a good insult? I think get meaner. That's not an insult in 2024. It was 30 years ago, but now it's like, so it's like it's not even a good insult.
Yeah,
you know, unless. And I swear to God, this is bullshit. Detective work / social coming to a conclusion. Maybe deep down they still do think it's like ick and weird. I don't know, because to me, if they didn't, if they were like, oh my God, no, anybody's still using that word. Like they were, if it really doesn't, if they were really no from my heart, I don't give a shit. Then yeah, why do you still think? Like you can do golly gee, we don't use anymore either. Like just forget about the. This is a little different, but it's just as a dated. So, I don't know. I wish that word. I just think of. I don't always say young kids, but it's anybody, but especially young kids. They they fucking look up to those figures, and it's like we let other words go. I wish, but I did also. There were times I was really enjoying myself and where it was really fucking funny.
Yeah.
And for me personally, the 3 hours, it's weird how I could watch around some of that other stuff. When I was laughing at a lot of stuff that was really making me laugh very hard. And just the whole thing is so larger than life,
Did you know that you were such a big part of the live stream?
My text. This sort of happened at the Golden Globes. I went with Jim Gaffigan to both. I did not go on my own. I was Jim.
But they aren't cutting to him. They're cutting to you.
He's there, and a lot of times the same thing there. They go to the table because other people are there. I know that's why they're they're planting a camera there because something's about to happen next. They're like, go put it. They do it throughout the whole night. So I know that they're going to be in the vicinity. So maybe I and I turn it, I can turn it up a little.
Oh, you got it.
Really give them what they want. Well, that became the bit at the Golden Globes because Sarah Silverman was sitting at the next table, and I would go, Sarah, watch. Not over the top where it was obnoxious. Yeah. No, that's not. But I would, really be engaged or go like this, try to really take it in and applaud a lot. Always stand. But at the roast, I wasn't laughing obnoxiously where it would be rude. It was just like.
I think it's funny. No one thinks you're like, yeah, of course, it's me. The camera's on me the whole time.
But if you're just a good laugher, and at the roast, I was really laughing. Ron Burgundy, I was cracking up, and. There, I won't go through the names because I'll be afraid, but there were a lot of people that really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
really did a good job.
I knew nothing about sport. Are you a sports guy at all? Yeah,
I didn't know any of the football players.
I was like, who's Tom Brady?
Oh, of course I know who Tom Brady is. I didn't know who any of the football players were. But there's still a presence when they come into the room. I mean, they're still that it's like wow, here they come. They filling up the chairs, and I didn't have to know them, but they still carry a presence, which was everybody when you were there really seemed to take it like Tom Brady seemed like, I'm not even kidding. I don't know how they close up to him on television and make it look another way, but there it looked like he was really just taking it great.
Oh, really?
Never seemed, it just seemed like if you textbook, just be cool, like what you'd I thought, how would I want to come off? What would
could you be roasted, or would it hurt your feelings?
Well, that's a good question.
I think I would be I think my feelings would get hurt.
You know what? One time I think Gary Goldman was talking about you always hang out with your friends and have hypotheticals of he goes, okay, here, because he knows I'm very sensitive and thin-skinned, whatever you want to call it. He goes, okay, you have a new show on. It's on television, but they go, part of the deal is they want you to be roasted. It'll bring attention to the show. It's a fake scenario. You get it? But he goes, and you have to be roasted. I'm like, oh, no. And then I'm just like, oh, I couldn't. He goes, what about if it was from people you that loved you? And then I instantly went, oh, I think I could love that. And so if it was, then I wouldn't be as scared.
If it was like friends.
Even friends.
I don't know.
Well, it's a different. Look, I never thought I'd talk about roast this much, but that seems to be the way the Tom Brady roast went. People weren't up there, even though they went to dark places, there was still also proves there could be both an amount of respect and said respect.
Yeah.
And still not be still when it comes, they dug, but I think it was from overwhelmingly people that had an amount of respect for him. I think that's why I never felt too in the room like, oh.
I just think I do have thin skin.
Oh, me too.
I don't think I've ever heard someone admit to it before either. I think that's the first time I've ever heard someone admit to being like, yeah, I do because I feel the same way.
Yeah, you know what
I take everything personal. You could be talking about someone else, and I'll take it personal.
You have to split the difference and, still have healthy perspective. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm very... that's why I always am gentle with other people when I even have to make a correction to somebody. Maybe if I'm in a comedy club, I always go, just think of how sensitive you are and, really do it the best way you can possibly do it,
Do you do regular comedy, without it tailoring to what you want anymore, or do you try to just make it with your band and...
You mean just do...
would you just go up and do a set?
Oh, yeah. All over Los Angeles. And, this year on the road, I didn't travel with the band at all because I wanted to tighten up my stand-up.
Yeah.
But I would sometimes use a keyboard player just to have a little bit of it like a toy. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun to have music. But pure, yeah. So,
do you see them differently?
What?
Stand up and doing it with the band?
With the band, you know, the band is a lot of fun. I mean, it's powerful. And, you know, besides the comedic element of them joining in with me, they can fucking play. And, like, when they played me on at the UCB, like, their saxophone and trumpet, and it's a different thing. It's like a different beast, but the guts of it are stand-up.
Like the show in Philly I went to, you just seem so yourself when you're in that element of that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not necessarily the size of the room, because I could have that. It's the.
But I mean, playing off the music.
Yeah.
Just
Okay. I was gonna
looking at the notes, like you're just being free.
I think that I like to have rooms, which, by the way, I think could be up to a 300-seat room, and you could get this up to a 400-seat room. I don't think it's only manageable at a 70-seat room, but at a 70-seat room, you know you're going to have control. Everything in the world is just shut off. I knew in that room every night there was nothing. 4 brick walls, low lighting on the stage. So simple, not one peep of noise. That was pure. That was like, to me, my tranquility of going in every night, 13 shows, walking into that wonderful atmosphere, knowing exactly what it's going to be, the way I set it up 13 shows ago.
Oh, what was the next?
Next in Line did
Next in Line comedy.
And she knocked it out of the fucking park.
But I don't mean that. All right, I mean like
Okay,
No, I just mean stand up is very. I feel like they don't like when you break norms with it. Like, I feel like stand up people like it to be very like one thing. And so when I see you doing what you do, it's really cool and exciting to see. But I just didn't know if you see that as a different thing or
just a different sort of element of it.
Do you get what I mean by that?
I think so. Do I see it as a different thing when I use the band?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but the guts of it are still stand up, you know. But it's weird.
That's your act. Would you consider that your act, or would you consider that
just
like
the band adds on top of it?
Mm-hmm.
The band adds on. The thing is, and I'm probably self-aware of this, that when I talk about the show. And people will see if they go watch it. There's not a lot of stand-up in the highlight reel because I figure people know what stand-up is. But there's some. But I know what it's like to want to go out and see a stand-up comedian. It's fun. It's usually going to be really enjoyable. I did it for years. When I was very young, we would go down and see. And it's a lot of laughs per. You go to see a comedian that knows what he's doing, and he runs a tight ship up on a weekend show where people are paying, even at a comedy club, $40, $45. That's a lot of laughs per. So I want to offer people that. So I always go out of my way to say, yeah, there's the band element of it, but it's a stand-up comedy show. The guts of it are a stand-up comedy show. I didn't answer your question.
No, no. I didn't even mean to like try to like pick at what you're doing.
Yeah, don't pick
I just mean that it makes me. It's really cool to see that you just seem so comfortable doing that.
I was.
It's like your podcast. It's like.
Thank you. I take that. Thank you, because you know
controlled chaos.
It was exactly. It's the best. My mind's already chaotic. I really do try on stage. You don't have to comment on top of a comment. Just do your jokes, and then it's already so chaotic for me to stay. So when everything in that room is so, and that room did it for me. They set it up real nice, so it did. It makes me perform so much better. I'm glad I looked relaxed because I really was. It was, like I said, it was really magical.
But it was like that when I saw you in Vermont and all of that. It's like...
Well, that's another room. See, you're picking rooms. That's another room. Now, that's a bigger room. That's like a 150-seat room, Vermont. But they already do a great job, but they're another place that lets me adjust for me while I'm there, so I'm very relaxed there. They're very they're comedian friendly.
I guess, all right, my mind doesn't work linearly. So when I write jokes, it's really hard to write them like that. So when I saw you perform for the first time, it was really cool to see you make comments on top of comments and be able to just like have fun, you know?
Well, maybe you give me the confidence to split the difference with that. Like, I do it, but maybe you can trim it down a little. But I appreciate that because maybe it says to me, hey, if some of that's in your nature, then enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. So it's probably good for me because I'm always thinking, like, one night I was at Largo, and I said, I was being serious. When I say just go out and do my jokes, the jokes I love. So it's not like I'm saying go out and... So I go, tonight I was telling somebody, I was telling Rory Scovel, tonight I'm going to go out there and just do my jokes. None of the bullshit I do in between. That's when I lose them. That's shit I do in between the jokes. Anyway, I tell him that. Then later, he walks by where they have food out, and I'm telling you the truth, and I'm putting cookies in my pants, not realizing that what I just told him. He told me, he goes, it's just so funny that a minute, because he asked what I was putting cookie in my pants. Cookies. Well, he goes, what are you doing? Like, he knew it was something. He didn't. He goes, why are you? And I said, because I thought it would be funny, like, if people are really laughing at my jokes, I just give them a cookie out of my pants. And then he's like, yeah, a minute ago you said you're going to just do your jokes.
Rory's another one who's really good at breaking the fourth wall of comedy.
It's fun, but I don't want to... It can get also annoying for me when I do it too much. I don't finish a joke. You can finish your thoughts. It's better for everybody. You can self-doubt on stage and do it, but for me, I think I'm a better performer when I trim it down.
But your podcast was the same way.
The podcast made me a better comedian. I really think.
Do you miss it?
I do miss it, and I got so comfortable with going. It's all right to miss something, and not want to do it every week again. I just did a podcast.
Yeah, that was a great one.
We got together, and it was it was fun, and I talked about what I missed about it. There was a lot, and but I like that I can do random ones now. I like that. And that's something I'll do.
I do like 2 a week, and it is tough. It's mentally draining.
You do 2 a week?
Yeah. I've done like 300, almost 400 in
Look at you.
4 years. Yeah.
Do people know how we met?
I don't think so.
You don't know?
I feel like I didn't do intros or anything
no, that's okay.
on this.
I think
how do you remember the story, if you mind me asking?
Well, you played, was it ice hockey?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Am I right?
Yes, I did.
And you had some injury, and it sort of put, so I don't have to, and then, so I remember the bullet points, and you emailed me, and then...
I was a broke college student, and I couldn't afford tickets to see you.
But you also did stand-up. Did you mention you did stand-up?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
But that was like right when I was starting.
I don't care if you're doing it for 8 months. When somebody says, you know what I always think, like, if it's maybe a little five and dime confidence builder, like sometimes I get it. They don't want to throw around I'm a comic. So maybe that, but sometimes, so I'll say, hey, well, I'm a comic. Well, I mean, not really yet. I go, how long you been doing it? Whatever it is, it varies all over the place. But even if they said a year, I go to you, how many times do you get on a week? They're like, at least 2. Oh, no, sometimes 3. You know what? I go, yeah, you're a fucking comic. You didn't do it night after night after night after night after night after month after month after week after month after 1 year later consistently doing it. So I'm always like, shut the fuck up, you're a comic.
Yeah. First time I ever did comedy was the first time I came to L.A., and you invited me over here.
Well, go backwards. You came to the Jim Gaffigan show.
Oh, yes. So I came to the Jim Gaffigan show, and I had...
Didn't you have a cast on at the time? Or
no, I didn't have a cast on. I was just a broke college student, and I emailed you, and I went, hey, I can't... I don't want to offend Jim Gaffigan by his high ticket prices, but I couldn't afford his tickets. So I emailed you, are you performing anywhere else?
Yeah.
And you were like...
Making an early Christmas present.
Yeah, and you were like, oh, I got you on the list.
Yeah, and you came, and if I remember correctly, you
set me up on the side of the stage.
Side of the stage, it's most people know there's these side stage areas where you should get pretty close, and they set up at that comedy club a table like it was Goodfellas.
Yeah, they really I was a mob.
And they brought two chairs up. Here you go. All of a sudden, they plant a candle on it. Did we get you a drink?
I think you might have got me a drink.
Yeah, no one questioned
legally
you. No one. You were how old then?
No, 18,
yeah,
19.
No one questioned.
I had a fake
age.
ID. That's how I performed at the comedy stores. I used a fake ID
really?
to get into the comedy store. Yeah.
Wow. So that's how I remember. And then over the years, you reached back out. You came to the old studio or this one. And
came to this studio. Yeah.
The rest is history. But
the rest is history. But you were just you were a big reason that I'm even doing this podcast because you were so nice. If you were a dickhead to me, I probably would have been like, oh, if I reach out to anyone, they'll be mean.
The podcast was. I mean, I don't have to wait 20 years to go. That was, I mean, it was everything. It was amazing. Because you know what, it's like sometimes it's I know people go, oh, it's great on this podcast. It captures what it's like to hang out, just being silly with a few friends, and it tries to capture that. It really gets more than that, because when you're doing the podcast, it's sort of like, no, we're working to be silly and do bits and do whatever we want. So the phones go away. So it's like better. So it's this intense hang to just do bits and have you not only are you doing bits, they're just as fun to do hanging out in your house. You start doing a stupid bit. Now we have a guy on the soundboard, sometimes a 3-piece band in a studio. It was like a magic place to go in and be silly. And it made me a better comic. It really did.
Have you ever met anyone you looked up to that wasn't what you expected them to be, or was rude, or?
Short answer, I don't think so. Maybe if I thought really hard, but no, I've been. Comedians, like I worked in Philadelphia, and I was doing stand-up, and then so a lot of comedians would come in, but Philadelphia was my hometown. Like I know that feeling now when I'm somewhere else, But it was my hometown. I was comfortable there. I had a car and people. So the comedian was nice, and I would say, "Hey, you want me to?" I would sometimes pick him up. I'll get you tomorrow night on the way over. You want to go to the mall, whatever. So I was nice to a lot of comedians when I worked at the Comedy Works. Even when I wasn't on the show with them, I worked there. So when I moved to LA, I would bump into a lot of them. And you know what? I don't think anybody wasn't like. I was always like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me." I was that guy. I do not go up and go. I don't think anybody was always like, Todd, just so nice. I'll tell you what, that makes a big fucking difference when you're moving from somewhere else to be met with.
Yeah.
I felt in that group of people a lot of positivity.
Most people I look up to have been nice.
Yeah.
I don't think there's not many people who have been. You hear horror stories. People meeting their idols and they're rude to them. And
it happens sometimes, but it's also a lot of positive too. Like,
how did you go from being a comedian in Philly to that? Like, what was your
moving to LA?
That was the thing.
No, I knew you had to move to LA or New York, and
do you still believe that?
Well, it's a different beast now, so it might not be true. I'm not sure. I don't want to say it unless I've, but I think in the beginning it probably is true too. I mean, sometimes there's intermittent cities. You can start in one place, not be ready for LA or New York, but go. Denver's got a great comedy scene. Chicago, so you go there to get to that next level. Those intermediate moves, I think, are great. I think that, but then eventually, there might be a time New York or LA still. Now, once you're in, like Nate Bargatze can live anywhere he wants, which, is the best. I love it. Just being able to do stand-up. Like, that's your job, just doing stand-up. Oh, God damn it, would I love that. He doesn't have to act. He's just Nate Bargatze on a tour bus.
Wait, but don't you think most people see you as that?
Not drawing as many people.
But still, you're saying if you played the tape back, you just went, oh, how great it would be to just be a stand-up.
Well, what I mean is, I sometimes do things like the truth is, I would never do 10-Year-Old Tom was a lot of fun to do. But that was just, they let me really ad lib on that show. and it made. But you know, it was still. I would still rather not do anything. You know, and that was a fun experience. Well, maybe I make an exception for something like that. That was fun, but I don't want to read for I don't want to go for auditions, and I do sometimes because I know it helps your career because any visibility as a stand-up. But what I mean is Nate Bargatze, he's just stand-up at a big level, drawing a lot of people.
I think people see you as
you're
that.
not. I'm talking about the amount of.
You're talking about ticket sales.
Ticket sales.
You're talking about it as like a business, the amount.
Yeah, like it's pretty cool. Like like I can be jealous and also love it.
Right, but don't you see how other people could see you as like?
Oh no, I'm not playing like I don't. I'm happy that I can tour and make a nice living, but that doesn't. But no, you're. I think you're misinterpreting. I'm talking about.
No, I do get. No, I do get what you're saying.
He doesn't have to act, and he's just purely because of his stand-up. He's drawing that many numbers.
Yeah.
Selling out these arenas. But by the way, I bet he is having a good time.
Yeah. Would you ever move from LA? Do you feel like you have to be here?
I actually like it here now. And I, have a lot of friends here, and so no, I can't see myself moving from LA. I mean, I've fantasized about it, like hypothetically, like where would I go if I was going to go somewhere? But it'd have to be with a lot of comedians.
Yeah,
a lot of comedians.
Because I live in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts, and so I always wonder that, like living in the major hubs, because it's.
Do you like it there?
I like living. I like having a super simple life, and then I can choose for it to be complex. But I do think it makes the actual work harder.
You think you'd ever want to live in LA or New York? Like, let's say money wasn't an issue. I'm not saying you couldn't afford it or could. I'm just saying everyone knows it's much more money. You can, So let's say money wasn't an issue, hypothetically.
I guess I could, but I also would miss my family.
You miss your family.
I'm an only child, and I think that plays into, like,
yeah,
feeling alone.
I get it. And your parents still married?
No, they're divorced.
They're divorced?
Divorced. They're as divorced as they can get.
Dude, are they amicable?
They're not.
Do you get along with either?
Yes, I get along with both of them.
You get along with both of them?
You know what's actually kind of beautiful? You know Nick's Comedies. Have you heard of Nick's Comedy Stop in Boston?
Yeah.
So when I headlined a weekend there, and the first time they had seen each other, that was at Nick's Comedy Stop.
Now, what do they do? Do they shake hands or hug?
I actually got a picture with both of them, which I thought was a very beautiful moment.
Well, of course,
it was a very beautiful moment.
It is a very beautiful moment. It really is.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it should be celebrated as a I don't know, also a love and growth, meaning even if it's just for that one thing. Some people couldn't even do that. So you got to, and I bet maybe they couldn't have 5 years ago, right?
Yeah. Was your family supportive of you in the beginning?
They were. The one thing that I was very lucky is that, my parents were just ridiculously supportive. Were yours?
Yeah, no, super.
Oh, they
were. They were supportive.
That's nice. That's a big deal.
It's funny that my grandmother didn't really love what I was doing now, but now she's more. I don't know if you ever see the videos of my grandmother reading rap lyrics.
Oh no.
They go. She's more famous than me now, and so it's kind of beautiful that she's like a part of the whole part of the whole process. Yeah.
That's so special. How old's your grandmother?
86.
86. Nice.
Yeah, and she wanted to be an actress when she was a little girl, she said, but she grew up in the Depression and couldn't do that. So I think it fulfills a little thing inside of her.
Oh, I love
that. To have some recognition now, people being loving her stuff.
Oh, that is so cool. And also the you will never regret, because you obviously have great affection for her. You'll never regret laying down anything to do things with her. It'll make you later in life, I always say that because she's 86,
Yeah.
And I know even with my mom, I started to just play her voicemail messages for that pure reason. I knew that it might happen, and I started to go, she would leave messages and I would play them on my podcast. I go, at least I won't lose them.
Is your mom still with?
No. But having those messages and playing them and having her voice, I'm so glad that I have those. So you'll be glad that my point is that you did this stuff with your grandmother. What's her name?
Gloria.
Gloria?
I want to get her on the podcast.
You have to.
But I want to ask her, did you ever have a real conversation with like your mom or with one of your grandparents about who they really were as a person? Not like who they portrayed as like a mom or a grandparent.
Let me tell you something. At that simple goal, you'll get a great interview because I guarantee you they're usually not as uptight as we think they're going to be. You know how to ask that question to her, and you'll probably get an honest answer. Like, but do you ever feel like, is that what you're curious? Do you ever feel like this is how you portray, but really you were, this is, what were you going to ask me?
I was just going to say, did you ever have that? Like, were your parents real with you, or do you feel like they were, like, did you know, were they crazy?
No, you know what? They were real. They were very who they were, and pretty cool.
Do you think that's why you are who you are?
Well, definitely.
Were they funny?
Very funny, and later in life, my mom, she had some problems with some people in the family, and that was a little family drama going on. But the reason I bring it up is she did so much right. And one of them was, just being really ahead of their time. She had like hippie friends, and they were definitely, you knew who they were.
Did they smoke weed?
Well, they didn't smoke it a lot, but they did smoke it occasionally, and they would. Here's what they did. So we were living in one house. It was a duplex, and then next door was friends. They had two friends. They had two kids. So my parents, at the end of the night, would put us to bed, and then they'd dial over there on the phone. And if we needed help, we would go to the phone and just, Mom. It took them like 20 minutes to finally hear the phone. But they would be next door. Look, we were very taken care of, But, and they eventually would come to the phone. And it was never anything important, Can we have cookies?
You're missing a hand.
You're missing a hand. Michael cut his hand off. And I remember one story where they got high, and I specifically remember hearing them laugh so loud. And I asked my mom, and my mom had a theory: tell kids the truth. I think her Aunt Ruth told her this. Even if there's certain stipulations still, but overwhelmingly, tell them the truth. What does this mean? What does that mean? Even if they don't understand it, they'll know they were told the truth.
Yeah.
So my mom asked me, and she just sort of goes, knowing I wouldn't understand the full story. She goes, "Oh, your dad, your dad said, Mike, his friend Bob goes, is this for Mike at the countertop?" And your dad said, "No, it's for Baba." I don't think that's funny at all. But of course, later as an adult, thinking back, they were high. I get it. Years later, I went, that's so funny. Yes, that's not funny. It's for Baba. But if you're high, and just picturing my dad high, sort of having the same sense of humor,
When did you smoke weed for the first time?
I didn't smoke till later. When did you?
I was like 18.
Oh, you were, okay.
Hey. With you was one of the first times.
Oh, was it really?
I had smoked a few times, but yeah, when I sat in on your podcast, was one of the first times.
That's funny.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Todd.
You got me addicted. Sorry.
My parents are gonna write you a letter.
They're gonna report me. They're gonna report me to HR.
Podcast HR.
Yeah, they have podcast HR. Somehow it's like goes through Chris Hardwick still.
You're gonna. Chris is getting a strongly worded email as we speak.
Oh my!
First time you smoked weed.
Oh, so first time, and this was my mom being, like some people would let your kid have a beer
and wait for this to buzz, and then you can hit it.
My dad.
When it buzzes.
Dad went out. Okay, what do I do?
Just wait for it to buzz, and then you can just hit it.
Where do I?
You just put your finger on the top. You don't even have to. No, keep that thing on it.
Keep that on it.
Yeah, and then just put your finger on the you could just hit it actually, and it'll work.
I'm gonna be very careful. I'll take a little more. So the first time, my mom. My parents got married very young. So, like, at this point, my mom is probably 30.
Because of you?
No. They just got married. They had all their kids after. But they got married. My mom was, like, 16, and my dad was 18.
Really?
Yeah. And, I mean, that happened more back then, but that was
you can't say that nowadays.
No, I know, that's so funny. No, well, it's not funny. It's just times change. So it was my mom. My dad went out of town, and my mom got some pot from her cousin Perry, and she let us smoke. Except for my little brother Corey, he stayed over a friend's house, and we stayed and we smoked marijuana.
How old were you?
I was 15.
Really?
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And I was like, how come I don't feel it? How come I don't feel it? Of course, my mom goes, oh, sometimes you just relax when you feel. I'm like, ugh, I don't like this type.
I heard you ate a lot of food, so I just started eating a lot. I wasn't even high. The
story with me?
No, with me. The first time.
Well,
I used it as an excuse. I'm like, I'm so high. I'm eating all the nachos.
Sometimes I wonder still, like, Todd, are you just letting yourself? But I think it's a mixture. I think it does crank up your cravings to make you overstep some willpower that you might normally have. But
I think it makes it taste so good.
Of course it does.
Like,
it can be so good. And but then years later, I was probably like 27. I smoked with my friend Kevin and his girlfriend Gwen. And that night, I got high, like the best type of high. I'd never done that before.
At 27?
Yeah, it was around 27. It could have been 24, but I think it's somewhere right in there, 25. But yeah, definitely up at that point. And then, it was so much fun. It was. It doesn't even matter to get into the details of why. It was just, but overwhelmed from afar, just a great.
Wait, why?
No, because I didn't want to be boring. But I think this one quick thing will get you where that high everybody wants. They had a little kitten. Now keep in mind I'm high now. They had a little kitten, and we had this running joke. Who knows how you get there? Like, we were high. It was a fun high. I go, well, what if I was a lion? One of those acts at the circus that puts the lion in the kitten's head, in the lion's head, the trainer.
Yeah.
That's like. And then, but my lion died, so all I have is this kitten. Now, they really did have a little orange kitten, so I would just take my kitten, and what I'd do is I'd have magnifying glasses all around the arena. So when I'd have the kitten, I'd open up his mouth and go, I will stick my mouth in this ferocious lion's. And I would take the kitten for real, because he's so cute, but he was very friendly, and I would stick my nose in his mouth. And we thought that. It was just pure bliss of how hard we were laughing, and then just one thing after another, just because of our state of mind.
How about mushrooms? Do you remember the first time you did mushrooms?
The first time, I do remember the first time I did mushrooms. Again, I don't think I ever had a bad experience with mushrooms, just maybe not eventful. Mm-hmm. I've done mushrooms probably like 15 times, so not that many, relatively. Okay. But the first time, it was, my friend Troy Conrad came over, and he had done them a lot, and he's a nice, gentle person, and he was good to have. Just tell us what to do. He was the one that said you put it in a peppermint patty, goes down easier.
I've never heard that.
Me neither. He said take Tums. Sometimes the come ups, when you're coming up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a great idea. Because I did it once without it, and I always do it now, just in case. I don't want that feeling of coming.
Nothing's worse than having to go to the bathroom while you're tripping.
Oh, I mean that's what it does in your stomach.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've had to.
Oh, yeah.
I just mean shitting and tripping is a real bad.
Oh, no, not a fun mixture.
That's not.
So the mushrooms, we had this. My ex Vinny was here, and we had this thing that Hitler was going to knock on, you know, like how you get there to this.
Yeah.
Hitler was going to knock on the door, and you can't let him see something about, you know what? I won't try to recreate it. Something to do with being silly. If Hitler can't see you being silly, and if your arms float up in the air, he's going to know you're Jewish. Because we had just been doing this thing where we're like, oh my God, I know I'm on mushrooms. We'd all say, we got it. We're trying to prove but on our hands, and it really did seem like they were floating up in the air. And right now, but even more, I'm like, wait, am I doing that? Or is it happening? Like, I was pretty sure, I don't think I'm just doing that. I think but of course, it was just me doing it. But it was so fun. It was just such a silly, great night.
Yeah.
And, and before we did mushrooms, I told my friend Lou, a comedian, I go, look, or I told everybody, I know sometimes you get to a place, you're fine, you just need to go. If you need help, you'll say you need help, but we'll just let you be. If you need to lay in a bed, because I know that, go lay in a bed. It's whatever. So I told everybody that. There was like 7 people over. And then we go we go into the extra bedroom, and there is Lou under the covers. I never pictured them with his shoes and everything on, laying under the cover with his head on the pillow. And you know what? I loved it.
I remember the first time I did it with friends. One of my friends, we were all in a park, like laying on the grass, looking up at the clouds, and it's starting to kick in. And you don't want people noticing you. You know what I mean? You just want to be.
Right.
And my friend just starts going, I'm tripping.
Oh.
I'm tripping on mushrooms.
So was he doing a bit, or was he really tripping?
He was really tripping.
Oh, my.
And just thought, if it was a bit, it would be funny. But no, he was just screaming. And everyone's just looking at us.
Oh, the opposite of what you want.
I've never had a bad trip unless someone with me is having a bad trip.
Yeah, I don't think I have. Well, I had 2 incidences where I got too high, or more than 2, but it doesn't really happen anymore.
I had a bad trip where I was with a girlfriend of mine, and during the trip, it was like, she's not the one for you. You need to break up with her.
Oh.
And then I didn't, because I was like, I'm tripping. I can't do this. But then it was like 6 months went by of me just being like, I gotta do it. And that made me stop taking mushrooms for a little bit. And then it was right. I should have just broken up with her.
You shouldn't have. Are you with her now?
I should. No. Imagine if I said that on the podcast. I should have broken. No, I feel like you gotta listen to the mushrooms when they tell you that type of thing.
Do you really?
Yeah. I think the mushrooms are know best.
I'm trying to think. You can have a guided experience. And I think I wouldn't mind doing that on mushrooms, because I've never went to have someone there. Like, picture there were 4 questions, and even if you do it, I'm not saying a real guide, but like even if you had an idea, like maybe we have a thing, we have 3 questions we're going to ask somebody when they're on mushrooms. So you get to have, like, use the mushrooms towards or even dealing with something in your life. What are you going to do? How are you going to deal? And then hit it use the mushrooms to, like, problem solve.
I did that. I had a shaman. This sounds so weird. I have like a DMT shaman that he did like a guided meditation.
Oh, okay.
And that was, you had to go in.
How much was that?
Free. He met me at a comedy show.
Rip off. No, I'm just kidding.
What is a shaman other than like an old guy who has done a lot of psychedelics?
Yeah, and it's probably very.
Would you ever do that ayahuasca, DMT, one of those?
I think I'd be too scared. Someone that I know just did it, and they told me about the experience, and I don't like to be fatigued, so I don't like the throw up part. Nothing's worth it to me.
Oh, throwing up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No.
Nothing.
No.
So. But
you're not throwing up on DMT.
Well, no, but the ayahuasca.
Yeah.
You throw up, and then there's a downside. I don't want the downside. I'll do with less at the end of the rope. I get it. There's a downside, but I get the ayahuasca for people. I respect that it's a.
But you don't need it.
It's an amazing experience. But I'll be too. I won't do it because I'm just I don't like the fatigue. But I'll double up on mushrooms.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll smoke 3 joints together.
Maybe I'll do a little meth.
Maybe I'll do a little meth.
Just a little meth here. Just a little bit.
Just a dab.
just a dabble.
Oh, it's good on strawberries.
You dip them in the sugar?
Yes,
Is that how you do meth?
I was just going to ask you, is it a gas?
You smoke it, right?
Meth. It's funny, I don't know.
Have you ever done coke?
I've never done coke.
I've never done coke either.
We've never done coke club.
I feel like I'm too hyper anyway.
I like if there were here's one of the reasons I might not have done coke. Because you would think that I would have tried it. Like even me, I think it's funny that I never did it. I think you would go, oh, I did it twice, but even if it was good for me, like vitamins, like that were proven to be good, but you had to snort them up your nose. There's something about that I don't like.
Snorting? Oh no, I don't want to snort anything.
I'm afraid to snort anything up my nose except nose.
You can rub it on your gums. I have some.
Rub it on your gums. Hey, watch your mouth. You rub it on your gums.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, you can rub it. That's my joke. And I don't know where I heard that phrase, but like, maybe I saw someone doing it. But if I'm ever hanging out with friends, I'll be like, I wish I had just a little coke, just to rub on my gums. Wake me up a little. Woo!
This is a dumb question, but I do want to know what your proudest moment is.
My proudest moment. Wow, let me give that thought. Wow, proudest. That's such a good, simple question, and it's funny that you would think I would have an. I know I have it. It's just getting it.
Yeah.
I know
Take
I
your
have
time.
a moment that I'm proud of. That, I'll be bare my soul and go, oh, I'm proud of that. Well, it sort of leads back to what you said about, sort of, am I appreciative for, what I have, like comparing that. And that sort of answers that is that I've been a stand-up comedian, since I didn't do very well in school. In and out of special classes, back in the regular schools, special. I mean, it was, I wasn't retaining a lot, and I was aware of it. By the time I hit 7th grade, I'm like, wow, luckily, my parents knew that I was something. They didn't know a lot about dyslexia then, so, and then, I find stand-up. That's probably why they were so supportive, because I started that, just under 16. And then, long story short, even though I would like more, that's what I do. That's what I did for a living. A long time. And all because of stand-up comedy. Been able to live and exist on this planet with thought put into retirement. Of course, you always want more, but it includes thought into that. Mm-hmm. And my goal, what I've always thought to be successful was, I'll admit there's what I want, but it's pretty close to giving me that life, is that you're comfortable forever. It doesn't mean you have to live in a $10 million home, but have you set yourself up, no matter what happens, comedy will take care of you. That's, to me, success in comedy.
And you?
For me. Well, this house makes me be able to have that. I probably couldn't live in L.A. That's why I go, give me a little more time. Mm-hmm. I think I have, it's not like I'm dying. You know what I mean, though? As you get older.
So your proudest moment is right now?
Yeah, just existing, making a living, doing stand-up. My whole time on this planet, stand-up comedy, not bad.
Did little Todd expect it? Does that make sense where you're at now?
No, I don't. You know what?
Or 16-year-old Todd when you're on stage.
You know what? I remember this. I knew that I loved it, and I knew that I loved the comedians. I met comedians. That was like, oh my God, I found my people. That's just, I still like comedians. I like hanging, I think, they're fun to be around. They really are. For serious, for deep, for really, they give me everything. But the doorman, his name was Tony Molino. This has to do with, do you think, And he gave me a big compliment, like, you're going to get a weekend, because that was like the big deal to get a weekend show, you know? And I remember thinking, this is so mean. I went, I wish he knew what the fuck he was talking about. Because he was sort of like a door guy. Not because I thought I wish that was true. Like, he's going, oh no, he's going to get a weekend, you know? So you don't think that, you know, just getting a weekend. Yeah. That's, in my head, was unfathomable to get a weekend at the Comedy Works. And then I did get a weekend, and I still have talked to that doorman occasionally, Tony Molino.
In Philly.
Yeah, that was like nice. He was being nice, but I was so insecure. Yeah, Tony Molino in Philadelphia. He was the door guy there. He really liked comedians. He was very nice to all the comedians.
I think you answering my email gave me the confidence I needed. And I'm serious about that. To keep going. Like, I just got to headline City Winery down in Philly.
How was it?
Incredible. And it was such... You're right. I remember going to open mics, driving 2.5 hours each way just to do 5 minutes and not thinking that was, I get to do comedy now.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I think it's funny you being like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You answering my email and just being nice to me gave me the confidence to believe in myself. Well, and so when I get to do those cool things, I'm sorry to take it over and make it about me right there, but that was
circle. I hear you.
It was kind. That's what I needed. That's what I needed. Just like, you still remember that guy saying that to you, and you being like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, it's being self-aware because I'm high. I go, "Oh no, go ahead," and you're complimenting me. It doesn't look too. It's like, please. Oh my God, my head is getting worse. My head is. But you were saying about
that you still remember that guy saying that.
Yeah,
thing
that
to
you know that's something to just take that and fan out with that idea a little bit about as far as you go. Oh, now you're able to go. How long will you remember things? Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, that was so many years ago, and then you could think, I remember things. Of course, people said. Do you remember when you were 5? Somebody said to you? It could have been nice, could have been mean, but you definitely remember 5.
Yeah,
5?
Yeah.
Maybe older, maybe younger, but definitely 5. There's something you go, oh yeah, I'm same with me. Okay, 5, I can think. Oh yeah, nice and bad. So I go, that's sort of what the power you have, like when you're around a little kid. No, you could say something that they'll remember 45, 50 years later. You're well aware of that. How are you well aware of that? Because you have these things. So not that you wouldn't be nice for anyway, but that's a good reason to like. You could put a good thing in that, or even just being silly with them, and put something for years later. They'll just keep it with them. I think it's a good thing to remember that because you know the power that you have to for the obvious.
How long did you grind and stand up for before?
Still.
You're like, I have to go to Chick-fil-A at 7. I have my shift at 7 p.m.
How long did I not wait?
How long did you grind for before it became your job?
I moved to LA in 89. So at 89 or 88 or 87, probably 87. Mm-hmm. Probably 87.
How long had you been doing it before?
Well, I started in 81, the end of 81, so I still include it. But you could say 82, whatever. So, yeah, and back then, acts that are not even, I opened up for a lot of music acts.
Really?
Because there was a place called the Valley Forge Music Fair that was in Valley Forge, and that's where I lived. That's where I went to high school. And they used comedians a lot to open up for musicians.
Worst idea ever.
You know what? For that type of music, it went over pretty good. It went over pretty good because they were seated 3,000 seat in the well, it was always about those, but it would be like Patti LaBelle, The Temptations.
You opened up for The Temptations?
Aretha Franklin, George Jones, Diana Ross.
You've opened for all these people?
Yes. I opened up for a lot of those musicians, and it was fun.
Do you think that's why you want a band?
Well,
like subconsciously?
You know what's so funny? You would think I would have thought of that already. Definitely.
Because if you had a band back then...
Well, I didn't have them at my disposal.
No, I mean, but if you did...
Yeah, you can see how powerful... You know, what it does, the band, it takes a stand-up show, which is already... when I say it's good enough, it is. It's still fucking amazing to just go out and see a stand-up comedy show. When the opening acts are good, maybe there's two of them, and they're good, and then the headliner... That's fucking great as it is, and it's still great that way. But it just takes that element and puts the band on top of it. The opening to the show, you know? So seeing that, you know, like...
But I mean, if you had your act now and went back and were opening up for those people, it would have been like...
I couldn't do what I do now.
You couldn't?
No, I don't think I could. It was a little more just, you know, not as...
They want to have me open for rappers, and I'm like... This is not going to go well.
I mean, if the money's good and you want to just take it and...
This is not going to go well.
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't know. I guess...
I opened up for Wu-Tang Clan once.
How was that?
It was on Juneteenth. It did not go well. I swear.
Yeah.
They booked me to do stand-up on Juneteenth in front of Wu-Tang Clan.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad did it go?
The beginning was a 1 or 2. Have you ever been booed? I've been booed. I did a festival in Buffalo, a rap festival. A town ballroom got booed by 3,000 people. That was horrible.
Oh, I think
that was horrible.
Oh, sorry, you had to go through
that. Have you ever been booed?
I think...
Don't.
You know, I've had bad shows. I've definitely had bad shows. You know, the thing with stand-up is you can be self-aware. So when the joke doesn't work, you're funny enough to make it by commenting on it. And if you're only doing 3 minutes, there's no horror stories on stage back then. You suck. I'm self-aware. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure had nights. But one I particularly remember is like, it was opening up for the wrong music group. Those other music groups, you see what I mean. Like those crowds were like, they were seated. They were, you know. But it was some old group. They sang My Sharona. You know that song?
Yeah. My Sharona.
Yeah, and those guys they were very nice in all fairness, but it was horrible. And I was like, look, I got, you know, the old obligatory, you know, I got to stay out here, you know. So I was like just trying to just deal with it. I don't even remember how I was fending off for myself. I'd lie if I told the details of it, but I remember doing horrible. And I remember the promoter went to the side stage after like 9 minutes or 10 minutes because I was supposed to do 25, and he goes, "That's enough."
Oh,
and you know what? I was glad that he said I don't even think he was being mean. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think he was just. It was not go. And I'm like, I can't knock. I need this check. Yeah. So I knew I needed to stay out there. And they weren't throwing things at me, but I'm sure they wanted to.
This is the last serious question. Do you think you're funnier when you need it or when you can just be free?
When I need it for what?
Like when you are hungry, and like versus now when you're more comfortable.
Now. I feel like, you know, for me, controlling the atmosphere is so important, and a lot of that I didn't.
We're not talking about that. We are no atmosphere.
But you did ask me that when I'm more comfortable, like.
Yes. No.
So I'm saying now, and I'm saying why.
Yeah. I was just sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. So the comfortable. What was the question again?
Do you feel like you're more comfortable on do you feel like humor comes out better when you like are hungry for it or when you're comfortable?
No, for me, it comes out better when I can be in the proper atmosphere. It's already hard to do comedy, and for me, look, I'm sure everybody loves it, but I really need it, the way my mind is.
Yeah.
So I can be in more of those places now, later in my career. Some of the ones I don't like, I don't have to work anymore, you know? And I'm thankful for that. Like, you know, like we were saying before, like, yeah, I always would like more, and you know, that's okay to want more, you know. But I'm also going. But you can work the good clubs, the comedy clubs. You don't have to work the shitty ones. You can go work the good clubs.
Yeah.
And shit, I'm so sorry. I'm so close. What was your question?
I didn't word it. I'll explain it better. You know how certain people hit a certain level of fame and they like don't want to do comedy anymore.
Oh, that's how I know. So no, I'm sorry, I was so close. And because of that, being able to pick the clubs that I want to work, I'm thankful for that, and it makes me perform so much better. So for me, it was great then, and it's even better now because those being able to be in those situations of in a good, well-run room, shutting off the outside world, getting in a perfect room. To me, I perform better now.
Thank you for doing this.
No, I'm not done. Now, if I was to, I'm kidding.
Do you want to go on a tangent?
Do you want to go on a tangent? I want you to hum the Stars and Stripes as I.
Okay.
Thank you. I hope this was interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, wish me luck with my neck.
Oh yeah, I really do hope your neck.
I hope I don't die.
What if this podcast healed your neck? You're all better
God.
now. You didn't think about your neck.
Sam's
the whole
podcast saved my. I had deteriorative spine injury at the 10th level, and I was basically doctors told me to lay down and just die, hopefully, by cutting off my water supply and food. I was very close. And then I did Sam's podcast, and the next, literally 20 minutes after he left, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Todd came into the studio in a wheelchair.
I came into the studio in a wheelchair, and you probably didn't notice this, both my feet had been amputated 3 years ago because of something I did stupid, in all fairness, and I don't want to get into it. But now my feet have grown back.
And you have 6 toes, honey.
I have 6 toes, and which is good because I want to be a window washer. And all because of your podcast.
You want to wash windows because of my podcast?
No. Now that I always wanted to wash windows high-rise. And but I heard if you have extra toes, you hold on to the ladder better.
Oh, I thought you were using them to wash the windows.
No, like come on, I'm not crazy.
Like a monkey.
But
like you got your hanging and you're washing with your feet.
The truth is that it would probably a monkey could do a good job, but a monkey shouldn't be washing windows. I'm not stupid.
We need to unionize these monkeys.
We do.
A monkey union.
I know what you're talking about.
Monkey matrimony? I don't know.
Monkey matrimony.
Monkey matrimony.
I don't know. I don't want you to. All right.
We ran out of steam.
We ran out of steam. That's the end of the show. We both ran out of steam.
We just gave up.
So great. All righty. Well,
all right.
Good hanging out.
All right. It's done.
Right,
I'm leaving.
Take care.
Hey. Go fund his show.
No, come on. Leave people alone. Anyway, that's it.
Wait, I should hit record.
Oh, no. You know what? You didn't get me. What if I was... Okay, we're done.
Oh, I should probably start this thing.
That seemed aggressive.
Welcome
now, when
to
I say we're done, what I mean is you got to leave people wanting.
You're like, we're done. I'm deleting your number off my phone.
No, I'm going to eat.
I just had some great time. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Hey.